Apple. What makes us buy their products? Why do we keep doing it, and why can't we stop?
The Apple ecosystem. It's designed to draw you in, and once you're in, it's designed to make sure you don't leave. And Apple has perfected this craft. Today, what I'm going to go over is 4 reasons why I think Apple is so good at sucking us in and so good at keeping us there once they do. And that is, first reason being ease of use and connectivity between devices, simplicity of design and simplicity with marketing. 3 is once you are in, it's hard to leave. And 4 is the App Store. I just want you to think about something and answer this question for yourself. I've done this myself, and I'm wondering what answer you guys get. How many of you that have an iPhone only have an iPhone and only have that as your only Apple product? Me, I went from the iPhone, I have a Mac, I ended up getting AirPods, I've got an Apple Watch, and where does it stop, right? I don't think there's many people out there that have simply just bought an iPhone or just bought one Apple item and haven't bought any others. So I'm curious to know what the answer is for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below. Apple products are designed in a way pair quickly with each other, pair seamlessly, and be extremely easy to use. Apple designs their own OS, iOS, watchOS, macOS, and that allows them to design each operating system in a way that talks so easily together. There's such an ease of connectivity and an ease of moving between devices. FaceTime is on all devices, iMessage, AirDrop, all these things. You can be on your watch and be doing something and then pick off where you left off on your iPhone, or you can pick up where you left off on your Mac. It's just all so easy. And that is a big reason why it's just so simple to buy one Apple product such as an iPhone, and to just, without even thinking about it, to just pull out your wallet and spend money on the watch, on the Mac, on the AirPods, and all those other things. And before you know it, you're really ingrained. You've got Apple roots, you've planted your own apples, and you're in an orchard now, you're growing apples, and apples coming out of your ears. As soon as you know it, you're basically spending all your money on Apple. Your iPhone goes out of date, they release a new iPhone, and you already have the AirPods and the watch, which is not out of date yet. You can still use those. So why would you get rid of that? Why would you get rid of those products when you can just get another iPhone? You don't even think about it, right? And that's how they start to get you. Ease of use and connectivity between devices. When Apple was first invented, Steve Jobs had 6 design philosophies that he used to build Apple. And one of those was based on simplicity. Tim Cook, Apple's current CEO, has even been quoted stating, "We believe in the simple, not the complex." All of Apple is designed to be simple and minimalistic. This goes from the devices to the marketing, the actual Apple stores. It's just so simple. You don't even need to think. Everything is just done for you. For example, when you walk into an Apple store, as soon as you walk in the door, there's someone there that asks you what help you need. You don't need to think. You don't need to walk around and make decisions. There's always somebody there. I've never been in there and not had somebody come up to me and approach me and ask me what help I needed. In terms of the applications and the devices are simple themselves. I mean, one argument against that is that it makes customization lacking. You can't change it how you want like you can do with an Android. But in the same vein, because they have so much control over this, they can release updates how they want. They can stop you from changing things that they don't want you to change, and they can keep everything very simple. And that's what makes it appeal to the wider market and draws people in. And that simplicity and minimalism, there's just something about it that in your brain makes you go, you know what, this is a good purchase. And let's say I do decide to leave Apple. Here's where they get you. It's hard to leave. I go, you know what? I'm gonna throw my iPhone off a bridge. I'm gonna flush my AirPods down the toilet. I'm gonna burn my Apple Watch, and I'm gonna smash my MacBook against a brick wall. Now what? Okay, let's see. Let's go to Samsung. I'll get a Samsung S20. I'll get a Samsung Galaxy Watch. I'll get Samsung earbuds. I'll get a Samsung Tab. Okay, now I've got everything Samsung. But if I wanted to, I could swap out any of those products for example, I could swap out the S20 for a Google Pixel. I could swap out the earbuds for something else. I could get a different tablet. I'm not locked in as much as you are with Apple. Once you start buying Apple products, you really start to put roots in, and it becomes hard to leave. Apple, they put up these walls, and they don't want you to go beyond the wall. They don't want you to get a ladder and climb over it. They want you to just stay in there and stay amongst the Apple products. And that's why the lineup for these ecosystems is getting so crazy. Like Apple Pencils, Apple this, Apple that, Apple TV, Apple shoes, who knows what's next, right? But from the outside, it looks like those things are really silly. But when you're inside and you already have these products, you know, if your Apple shoes sync with your phone, your watch, your AirPods and everything else, then yeah, why not? Someone out there is gonna buy it, and that just puts more roots in there and stops you from leaving. They've got these barriers and incredibly difficult to leave. And let's say you do decide to leave Apple. Okay, you've now got your Google Pixel. You've had to throw away your Apple Watch because you can't use that anymore. It's pointless, right? It's not gonna pair with your new new Google Pixel. Your AirPods, why use those anymore, right? Not worth it. It's not going to be as seamless. I know you can still connect it with the Google Pixel, don't get me wrong, but it's just not as seamless. So it's just all too complicated. Why do it, right? And that's what goes through people's minds. They just think, oh, this is all too complicated. And before they know it, they've pre-ordered the next iPhone again, and the cycle continues. And let's say I did get rid of all my Apple gear and did get a new phone. Now, how am I going to get all of my data onto my new Google Pixel? Okay, I have to export it. How am I going to do that? They don't make it easy. You could have different things on there. You could have different apps that you paid for, all sorts of things, photos, everything. I mean, it's not impossible, don't get me wrong, but it can be harder than you think to get the things that you want that you have on one phone over to another. And that leads me into the final point, the Apple App Store. The App Store is where app developers make most of their revenue. Studies have shown that between the App Store and say Google Play Store and other stores, app developers are making 80% of their revenue from the Apple Store, right? From the App Store. Compared with other stores out there for Android phones, it's only making 20% of the profits. And the crazy thing is, the Apple market is actually a small pool because there's less phones, because it's only one phone brand, 2 phones, 3 phones a year that have that actual app store, compared with all these other hundreds of Android phones that are released, you know, every second day. They have thousands and thousands of apps in app stores. They're making 80% of the profits from the Apple App Store. You know what that means? Where there's money, the developers focus on working in those areas. And what does that mean? That translates into more apps being on the App Store and more support being on the App Store. So if you're leaving Apple, you're actually losing a lot of apps, you're losing a lot of app support, you're not getting the latest updates as fast, and the Apple App Store is just really good. And then secondly, let's say you decide you want to leave Apple and you decide to go buy a Samsung. Okay, over the years, you know, maybe you've had an iPhone for 5-10 years now, and you've accumulated all these apps over the years. You've spent, you know, upwards of $1,000 on app. I don't know if that's a higher number, maybe $100. Even so, you've spent all this money on apps. Now it's all going to waste. You can't transfer those purchases over. You've got to buy the apps all over again. So why would you waste your money? Why leave, right? Again, you're trapped in with Apple. So I'll leave you with this. Don't just make choices and buy things just because it's from a certain brand. Yes, if you like the product and it's a great product, then sure, by all means, but at least have a think about why you're buying something and think about if it's suitable for what you want it for. For example, don't just get Apple Music because you like Apple, right? For me, I use Spotify. I believe it's a better product, and I did use Apple Music at one stage, and that was because I just loved Apple. But I decided, you know what, it's not as good of a product. I'm not going to use it because my roots are that ingrained deep into Apple. Even though the support is not as good for Spotify on things like the Apple Watch, you know what? I'm still gonna go with Spotify. Don't get too caught up in, oh, it's gotta be Apple or this or that. Sometimes it's okay to go away from the Apple garden and look at other products. Don't just ignore them because you love Apple. Look outside. And I'm not saying this because I hate Apple or anything. I've got a lot of Apple products. I'm just saying be a good consumer and think about what you're purchasing. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this too. So if you have a differing opinion from me, or if you agree with me, or if you have another idea of how Apple is doing this, or if you don't think Apple is doing this at all, I want you to drop a comment down below with your thoughts. Feel free to check out my channel. I've got other Apple videos up there specifically for the Apple Watch at the moment, but I've got plenty of other things coming in the future. And if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next video.